I just want to give you a bit of an insight into the AFL Enjoys team. We're a bunch of unique individuals, Matsa, Sfenda, and Dean. We're going to engage with our minds and our hearts. We're going to exchange ideas, thoughts, and even our energy. And to speak from your heart, you need to have courage. You need to be honest and authentic. We're not always going to get it right, and sometimes you're not going to agree with us. But that's okay, because just like you, we care. Just like you, we're passionate about the game. So if you want to come along for the ride, join us at the AFL Enjoys podcast, because we really enjoy the footy. Hello and welcome back to the AFL Enjoys podcast. We've had a week of trades to discuss today. Boys are with me once again, Georgie Sfenda and James Matsa.
How's it going, man?
The busiest North I've ever been in their whole life, mate.
This is like Christmas for me. Like, you don't understand how much I love the draft.
Oh man, the draft, the trade period, the preseason, all of it, man. We're excited as North fans. As you can see, we've got North Melbourne cards ready to go.
How many picks do you have in the top 10, man? 10?
About 17. That's pretty good, man. 17 picks in the top 10 is pretty good, man.
If we do a rewind to right before the preseason sort of officially started, I said I want to own the first round.
You did.
And Brady Rawlings, if I could see you.
And they did. And they did.
I wanted them to own the first round, and they did.
And they did, man.
I'd give Brady a big hug if I could see him, mate, because he's honestly just made this off-season so much fun for me. So,
there was that one day, I can't remember what day it was exactly, but I was coming home from work, and I'm like, oh, another trade. And it was... it was the Zach Fisher one or the Stevens one. But that whole day of getting the two targets we wanted and an extra 2 first-round picks for this year,
man,
that's pretty good, man.
I told you before, that day I had to drive to Traralgon, which for me, where we live here, is about 2 hours away.
Yeah.
And I didn't have access to my phone most of the day. I was busy working. And then as I'm driving home, I'm sort of listening to the radio, but they don't talk about the trades so regularly, really. And I come home and it's just like I said, Christmas. Like, I'm just seeing like 4 trades. We've moved up the draft order.
Every time you refresh, it's a new draft pick.
Like Stevens done, Fisher done, draft picks. Man, this is the best. But anyway, like, lots to get into, obviously. I've got the article that AFL posted just the other day, which is essentially breaking down every move so far. I thought we'll just go through it, obviously, and just get opinions on you boys who won the trade, who lost, and what it means for the team. So just scrolled right down to the bottom. So we'll go from the very beginning, 9 days ago. We've got James Jordan becomes a Swan, right? So James Jordan to the Swans for end of round 2 compensation for Melbourne, which ended up at the moment as pick 39.
I don't really think too much of James Jordan. I think he's just a decent depth piece. Sort of replaces the Dylan Stevens departure for them. Yeah. And pick 39 might be overs, to be honest with you. Like, I think AFL have been very, like, the compensation has been very generous. I don't know.
So he was only a free agent because he got delisted from...
No. He's just a general.
Just out of
his contract's run out. So now he's a free agent.
If you're delisted, the other team doesn't get compensation of it. Like, you've delisted him.
But he was delisted and re-picked up, I think.
No. He's just a regular free agent. He might have been delisted if no one picked him up.
How many years has he been in the system?
How many years?
Don't know.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years, yeah.
Is that enough to be a free agent?
Yeah.
Apparently so.
Well, think about, like, the rookies until this year were 2 years, and then most teams signed him on like for an additional 2. So it could be at the end of his 3rd or 4th year, realistically. Look, I think what Matsa said was quite right. Like, they've lost Stevens, brought in Jordan.
Yeah.
Time will tell if that was worthwhile. I guess they've just replaced that spot on the list with a talent that will probably play some games for him.
Yeah. Credit to him. He's a hard-working player. Like, and who knows, maybe the wing where he's playing isn't his best position. Maybe he needs more inside time. Don't know if he will get that, but yeah.
And they did drop, they delisted Ryan Clark as well. So a bit of run through the midfield. He had a bit of a role from them at times.
As the tagger.
Bit of a tagger. He's really fit, Ryan Clark. He can run all day. So, there's more to go with the Swans, as we'll get to, but they've been pretty busy so far. I think pick 39 for Melbourne, look, they'll be pretty happy. When you lose a free agent, wasn't really in their best 22 every week. So they've ended up with a shot at the draft.
Yeah, I think that pick went on to Fullerton, maybe. I'm 100% sure about that, but
potentially. We'll get to it, yeah. And then there was a free agent move. So the Eagles received Matty Flynn. GWS also received the end of round 2 compensation, which is pick 40 at the moment.
That's okay for GWS. I think the Eagles, they need a Nick Nat replacement. Even though Nick Nat wasn't playing, every club needs 2 rucks that could play. I think Matthew Flynn's a decent ruckman. So
He's probably better than Bailey Williams. And I think West Coast want to try Bailey Williams as the ruck forward option. So, good pickup for them. Look, no loss for GWS, really. They just need someone to replace, the backup ruck now.
Well, they got. I don't know what the situation with Bruce is. He's still on the list though.
At the moment, yeah.
He's a solid backup.
He's a scary player. He's always injured, but when he's not, he's injuring everyone else. So
Yeah, true.
Do they have a third ruck? So obviously, Flynn's gone now. They had Bruce. Briggs took over the number 1 spot. Was there someone else in that line as well, or am I just thinking of the correct 3 there?
I think that might be it off
Might
the
be
top
it?
of my head.
Yeah, I
And
think
they've
so.
probably got some, ruckman, young ruckman in the background that they're developing. But
Yeah, fair enough.
look, Flynn's mature age. He's tough. He's strong. So you're right. Bailey Williams, I think, can be more versatile playing the forward line as well. So I think it's a fine pick for West Coast.
Especially when there's a lot of ruck movement. I think Matty Flynn's sort of like your baseline solid ruck.
He's like your Mark Pitnet vibe.
Yeah. Like if you're a team like West Coast, you're just happy to get anyone willing to go to you, to be fair. So
yeah, true. And they don't pay anything to get him. They get him for free. So
Yep.
good, decent move.
The next one was Sydney again in the action, receiving Joel Hamling,
I like this one.
unrestricted free agent, because Hamling had been delisted in the past, I believe. So it's completely unrestricted, no compensation going to Freo on that one, I don't believe.
Or it might be because it's a cheap move.
Possibly, one of the two.
I think it was that. We forgot about Hamling, and I think Georgie said it last week. Premiership defender.
He was for the Dogs, wasn't he? Went to Freo. I brought in Joel Hamling into my AFL draft team for 1 week.
Really?
Yeah, not draft. The AFL, not Supercoach, but the AFL version.
Dream team, whatever it is.
Whatever it's
Fantasy?
called. Fantasy. Last year when I was playing it, I'm like, Hamling, he's so cheap, and he got a game. I brought him in, and then he didn't play again for the rest of the year. So I just remember that move, and I'm thinking, Hamling, he's on the list. I forgot that he was on the list. He's getting a game. He's good. Well, apparently he wasn't. But as a mature age defender, helping the Swans who need defenders, Swans are competing for the flag. So you throw him straight in if he can play consistent football. I don't think it's a bad move, personally.
And I think they're paying him cheap for there not to be any compensation. So, low risk, high reward. Good move.
Well, Freo, we'll get to the other moves in a little bit, but not so fun of a preseason for them. They're losing a few players.
That's the same every year, man.
Yeah.
Mass exodus every year.
Well, in a way, but then they had Luke Jackson wanting to go to them, which was a huge...
That's like the only one, man.
True,
Yeah. And the thing is with that is that they've lost this year's pick because of Luke Jackson. So their off-season is just...
horrible so far. But
Trying to
hard
make
to
something...
see how they're going to improve, isn't it?
Exactly. Like they have to make something out of nothing. Whether that's a decent, late draft pick. Maybe they get something decent from the Liam Henry deal. I don't know.
Well, they're going to be negotiating that one, I think, all week. That might be one of the late ones that gets done because they're going to want quite a bit.
Silvani likes to go to the end of the draft. He
I
likes to
can't
take it to the
stand him,
last
to
day.
be honest with you. Like, some of these list managers think they own their celebrities at this time of year. Like, just do your job, make a good deal.
Like Dodoro,
Oh,
him.
it makes me sick.
And who's the other one? Mackey's getting annoying as well.
What's Mackie doing being a list manager? Surely he's too young for that.
Yeah, true. No, you have to have a lot more grey hair.
Yeah.
You forget that Mackie just never aged though, so he's actually
right.
40. He's actually 42.
Is he actually?
He's a vampire, bro.
You would believe me if I said it.
Oh, yeah. Well, surely, is he 40?
Yeah.
He might be, yeah.
He's actually 3,000 years old.
Well, then it makes sense. Then it makes sense. He's got experience.
Well, look on
He
that actually.
drafted Alexander the Great originally.
On that Geelong stuff though, they haven't done a deal yet because they're holding out for some massive demands with Radaglia. I don't know about you guys, but like Radaglia for me, this was his first year in defence, and he wasn't great. He's a big body, organised Geelong defence. Like I'm convinced any big body can do what he did this year.
Yeah, I thought he was good. To be honest with you,
He started better than he finished.
Yeah. But you can see there's obviously potential there. But at the same time, 1 year isn't enough to say this dude's a ready-made, solid key defender. Because you're going to be playing in a defense next year. Him and Zerk Thatcher, both not overly experienced. Alir is probably the most experienced of the lot.
He is, yeah.
But none of those dudes, I don't know. Do any of them really hold down the defense? Like,
Look, I don't think it's a bad 3 combo for Port. having those three.
Yeah,
If
it's
they
very
get-
athletic.
Mm.
Three dudes.
It's definitely an upgrade on the geriatrics they have this year.
Yeah, true. He'll Trem
McKenzie,
McKenzie?
Jonas.
Yeah, Jonas doesn't even play. Like
Jonas is retired now, yeah.
Fair enough. Well, there was another defender on the move, actually. So Tom Duday to the Lions for end of round 1 compensation going back to the Crows. So pick 19. The Lions gave him a lot of years and a big contract, apparently.
Yeah, I've got a bit to say about this, right? So for the compensation stuff, they're going to get end of first round. And look, good on them. Good on Adelaide for, getting this sorted. But at the same time, they ended up dropping the big deal that they were going to give him 6 months ago, whatever it was, they dropped it to 2 years and 250K less. That's basically showing you the door. If they value him at that price, how do they get an end of first round compensation?
Because it's all about the contract he signs.
I know, but
So it's a Brisbane's doing, essentially.
yeah, of course. But it makes me think the compensation, apart from the pick 3 that we're getting, it's a bit sus, man.
It's sus as, bro. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, look, I guess we'll talk about the Ben Mackay one as it comes, but specifically with this one, I think it's honestly just risky from the Lions' point of view. Duday's been injured regularly, and that's the reason.
Is he ACL at the moment?
I think so. And Adelaide obviously has withdrawn their initial big promise to him. And you can say, obviously that's harsh and you can understand why he's leaving. But from Brisbane's point of view, it's actually quite interesting that they've paid up so much.
Yeah, I don't know if, with contracts these days, they don't really disclose if there's, what's it called, triggers and that sort of stuff. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't have a fully guaranteed contract over the 4 or 5 years, whatever it is. But yeah, look, it's high risk, high reward because Duday, I think when he's injury free, he's a gun. As an interceptor, as someone who can lock down, he's a bit of he kind of does both. But I think as to have him and Harris Andrews intercepting at their best would be crazy, It'd be almost like a May and Lever type combo. So could be pretty decent. But again, big risk.
And pick 19 for the Crows, look, for a player that you were going to try and lowball and just keep on your list, that maybe you're not too confident in his injuries, it's a good return for them.
Yeah, I think
Huge return for them. That gives them a bit of something to play with if they still want to try get Petty, whoever else they want to get in their team.
I happen to think these end of first round compensations I've actually got no problem with because ultimately they get pushed back. So you're looking at something between 19 and probably 23, 24, 25.
Yeah.
For me, that's fine. You can sort of ignore that. At least the team losing a big free agent. That should sort of be the maximum in my opinion. And I'm talking as a North fan who's pretty happy.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be the thing moving forward because they said they were going to review draft stuff, whether that be compensation picks, the draft point system. Maybe that could be the maximum in future where it's just end of first round pick. But or maybe even if a player was that good, maybe make it 2 end of first round picks instead of getting you the pick 3 that everyone's crying about. But who knows? We'll see how they go about that.
It's interesting. Yeah, we'll touch on that a bit more soon. So Port Adelaide did a trade just with picks and between them and Freo, right? So I'll read it out. Port received a second round pick, which is currently 23, and a future second round pick tied to Freo. So 2 second rounders essentially for a future first round pick that Port's given Freo. So next year's first rounder.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. So it's basically 2 seconds for a first.
Yeah, and think about it this way. North had Port's pick this year, and Port had a good year, didn't do so well in the finals. That's pick 15 currently. So let's just sort of mimic that.
Yeah.
It's pick 15 for 23 and a second rounder. So 23 and probably 23. Let's guess that.
I think Freo will be a little bit better, or maybe that second round pick in future might go a bit further. But I think it's good for Freo, an opportunity to get into next year's draft because they've got nothing this year. So, you might as well just put the eggs into another basket.
So they'll have 2 first rounders at the minimum next year.
Port.
Freo.
No.
Yeah, Freo are getting Port's first in the future.
Yeah.
And then they'll have their own first in the future.
And I don't think Port will finish that high. Freo will finish that high next year, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It's interesting because this pick, the way the article's written is that was meant to be a pick that Port received that would just enable them to get Radagalia. But apparently Geelong's just swiped it away, apparently.
Yeah.
So that's just hilarious that Port's done this deal thinking, that'll get it done.
You'd think it'd be enough, though.
Wouldn't you think you'd call Andrew Mackey, who's the Geelong list manager, and say, look, going to get this pick? Would that get it done? And if they said no,
Imagine they said yes and then flip the script.
no way.
Who knows? Who knows, man?
Andrew Mackie, sly dog.
Yeah, but then they could throw that future second maybe at Zerk Thatcher even. You know what I mean? So they're probably thinking of that as well. Because if they could get if they were to get it done for both of those players with those two picks, it'd be pretty good. But now,
well, Essendon's trying to talk the power into Dersma for Zerk Thatcher, essentially like a straight swap, maybe like late picks trading. So pretty much a straight swap.
yeah,
it's going to be interesting. They're the couple trades that are just lingering. Like
Would you do that?
straight swap.
Yeah.
If you're Essendon, hell yeah, because he was going to leave anyway,
Yeah.
and you need that kind of player on the outside. But if you're Port, you kind of have to, I think, for would it be like cap reasons or stuff like that? Maybe get rid of someone that's not quite a needed player, but
he's not in their plans, obviously, and they've told him to go, assess your options. So, yeah, I think it's kind of fair. A dude wants to leave, even though Dersma's value is higher. A straight swap, I don't think he's that bad. I think maybe the late pick swaps or something. The favorable pick goes to Port, but again, it's I don't know. Both players want to go, so it's like I don't know. Scratch each other's backs a little bit.
Yeah,
which
fair
they
enough.
don't seem to do these days.
Fair enough. Now, this was a big trade that happened. So, Doggies and Suns trading a few picks around, right? So, the Dogs have received pick 4 currently in the draft, 2 third-round picks, which are currently 46 and 51, and a future third-round pick, which is Gold Coast's. So, all in all, 4, 46 and 51 for the Suns, who have received 2 first-round picks, which is 10 and 17, and the Doggies next year future first.
Yeah. I think Western Bulldogs? You said they got 2 lates back as well.
2 late picks back.
Yeah, so that
The
helps
40
them.
picks.
Yeah, the
46
Croft
and
picks.
51.
Yeah, that helps them with Croft, and they also get Nick Watson, perhaps.
So
at
why do
pick
you
4.
think that they've gone so hard to get so early in the draft? It must be for a specific player.
I think it's for a specific player. Part of it also is I thought about it. They don't want to use their higher picks like 11 and 17
To get
Croft.
Yeah.
So that that was part of the strategy, But when you make it out as if it's 3 first round picks for one dude, like I don't know, it's tough to sort of justify it on its own like that. I don't know. We'll see. Look, we were talking about it last week. Who would you trade pick 11, 17, and a future first for in the AFL? It'd be it's good players that go for that type of currency.
Yeah.
Well, that was like the Jeremy Cameron, wasn't it? 3 first rounders in the end. How many did he demand? Prime Jeremy Cameron.
They got a lot, but they want a flag from him.
Well, what I'm saying is that Matsa's point being like, who would you actually trade the picks for? Like, if it was an actual player in his prime.
Yeah. It would be like we're talking like Charlie Cameron, small forward type. If they're going for Nick Watson, the small forward type is Cameron. What other small forward would you pay that type of money to? Like Toby Green.
Yeah.
He'd be more than that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But it's not been done yet. Like no one player has gone in a trade for 3 first round picks or more. For more than 3 first round picks. So
yeah, I think it's going to happen eventually. Where there's going to be like some big first rounders moved. I don't know how the rules work in the AFL, but can you go beyond next year?
No.
They
It's
gotta add that
only
in.
1 year in the future.
They got to go. No, seriously, they got to go like a team goes 4 first rounders. For
NBA can do. Is it like 28 and 29 are getting talked about?
Yeah,
now?
no. There's
Like 5, 6
there's
years.
20 30 picks that have been swapped.
Yeah, there you go.
know what I mean?
Wow.
That's the best. But you can't do like more than like 2 years first in a row.
See, if you're North Melbourne,
So-
right? Just hypothetically,
Yeah.
I would feel pretty confident trading a first rounder in 2028 if it gets a deal done, a really important deal done now.
Yeah. I
'Cause
trade
you
you're
bank
just
on the
buying
fact-
from the future. It's free money, bro. It's
Yeah.
free.
Exactly.
draft picks.
Worry about it later, man. Like, yeah. If that helped us get Harley Reid, say 2028 first rounder and 2030 first rounder, I'd do them both.
Actually,
Because
you know-
by then we'll be good.
You know what the NBA and broadly American sports does really well is pick swaps. So
Yeah.
like you do a pick, say with Carlton next year, the better of the 2 picks would go to one team. So you're not trading and getting rid of a first rounder. You're just going to receive a worse one.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, same. And then if you go for a pick swap and your team, say the team who gets the best one does worse, the team that did better wins, if that makes sense. So it's a bit of a risk because you might not get an upgrade
Yeah.
if you're the worst team. You know?
Exactly.
So I kind of like it. You know, it adds a bit of, gambling involved, So,
Gamble responsibly.
yeah, of course.
But I look back to this trade here. Obviously, Gold Coast, they just want more picks, match bids this year and next year.
Yep.
The Doggies, this is as high as they've picked in the draft apparently since Bont. So it's a pretty big deal for them.
Ooh. Yeah.
Well, I think they think that they have the pieces for the flag. And I think we think that they have the pieces, at least most of them, for the flag. They just need a proper coach, which we said last week and we'll keep saying forever. And you're right, if they do feel like they need a small forward and Nick Watson fills that gap with Waitman, they've got the powerful midfield. Liam Jones comes back in the defence. Their players get a little bit better. Jamara gets better. Norton gets better. Yeah, maybe they do have what it takes, Dog. So if they get the Fathers Hunt as well, they've got Darcy just waiting there as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've kind of got half the pieces.
It's interesting with them because they're still super young. Who are the old dudes who are actually, vital? Like, Libba might be close to 30, but you can tell he's still got another 2, 3, 4 years in him.
Yep.
Like all their best players, Bont's still young, McRae's still young. They're both like prime, mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
So it's not really win now for them as much as it feels that way because they've won a premiership. What was it, 5-6 years ago, whatever it was. But yeah, the team's still super young, so they're they can really they can focus on what they need right now and just worry about the future, later, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. And quite frankly, that was probably the pick 4 that they've received, which is the highest they could have gone, realistically, because North isn't really going to trade out of 2 and 3. Hawthorn's not getting rid of their one. And the Eagles obviously demanding a lot. So they've sort of done as well as they could if they wanted to get higher.
I actually kind of feel like with West Coast, they're kind of stuck in an awkward position at number 1. I think because now they're pretty much either forced to get something huge that's not going to get offered or take Harley Reid, who might leave. You know what I mean? I don't envy their position at number 1 at all. Because even though there's so much power, they have to deal with the fact that if they trade for a subpar, what's the word? Haul for pick 1, their fans are going to lose their minds. It's a bit weird for them.
How funny was the Harley Reid interview? It's like, can you just confirm one more time that you're happy to go to West Coast? I'm happy to go to West Coast. It's like, I don't think you are, bro.
Honestly, there was an interview he did with Cal Toomey and
That's the
Riley
one I'm
Beveridge,
talking about,
but
yeah.
earlier in the year.
Oh, okay.
And at that one, I must say, you can tell he's done a lot of media training. He seemed nervous, and honestly, his responses were a bit grey. But I'll give him a lot of credit. He must have done a lot of training with media stuff because he sounded much more ready for the AFL environment and the media.
He just sounds comfortable, man.
It's like now he does.
Yeah, but it's not even just like, hello, I am Harley Reid in a monotonous, media trained type way. He just seems so loose and relaxed and just seems like a good bloke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think he's done, again, credit to him. He's done very well.
It's tough, man. We're talking about 17, 18-year-old kids.
I know. And
The
he's
pressure, what was I when I was that age?
I know, man.
I'm still a muppet now. Jeez.
I know. Very articulate for a 17, 18-year-old kid. So he's doing well.
Yeah. So the next move was a free agency move. Our boy Todd Goldstein off to the Bombers. Look,
What's there to say, man? What's there to say? He's going to go there, stopgap little ruckman until Draper gets back. It's probably the best ruckman they've had, in the last, 20 years?
since
Since
Paddy Ryder.
Yes, since Ryder. It's the best ruckman that they've had, even at this age, I'd say.
I don't think there's actually, I don't think there's that much to say about it. I don't think he'll play a full year. He's obviously just trying to get a little bit more money and get a little bit more out of his career. But does it change Essendon that much?
Yeah, look, the Bombers, I think with Draper being down, I think it does help them a lot. People have been sleeping on Goldie for probably 3 or 4 years now, thinking he was done because he always looks exhausted on the field. His face is always red. He always looks tired, but he still runs all day. And he still solo rucks most of the time.
But how long is Draper out for? Do we know?
I think most of the preseason. So he probably will have a delayed start to the year.
Okay.
Look,
There's no need to rush him back because Goldstein's a fine
he'll be
ruckman on his own.
perfectly fine for them. Yeah, look, it's not a massive needle mover, but if you just want a stopgap ruckman, he was the best available.
And Phillips retired.
Yes,
the other thing.
so they did need someone. It's a good move for the Bombers short term. I think it says a lot about North, though, in that round 1 this year, we actually had Goldstein dropped for Tristan Jerry.
Yeah.
And North fans, just in what I hear in podcasts and stuff, they do not rate Tristan Jerry. Now, I must admit, he played the first... Was it in the first game he got injured or the second
I think it's the first game.
First game, right? And I must say, like in that quarter that he played, he looked okay. How much can you read off it, though?
It was against the
Eagles.
child, as
what I will
I've
say,
termed
though,
him, Bailey
is
Williams.
when he plays VFL, Tristan Jerry, his stat lines are incredible. Like 20 touches, 7 tackles, 30 hit-outs. You're like, wow, this guy's ready. And then every time he's in the AFL, he just doesn't look ready. So I think North internally rates him. North fans do not like him because he hasn't proved it yet. And now
we've
we're
been
sort of
spoiled with Goldie.
We've been
let's be
spoiled
fair.
with Goldie, and now we're sort of looking around thinking, shit, when Jerry returned later in the year, he didn't look great. But he did recover from a leg fracture. So how much of that do you play in?
Who else do you have?
Coleman Jones.
Coleman Jones,
Oh,
and that's
Coleman
it.
Jones.
And we've got who's the big boy in the VFL that does not look ready?
Hamish Free.
Hamish Free. Yeah, we drafted him in the... Was it late in the draft or
Nah, rookie draft.
rookie draft
So he'll
last year?
he'll be back on the rookie list again.
Yeah.
So go another round, but
So basically, we're going all in on Jerry and Coleman Jones, who neither of which have proved to be an AFL ruckman yet.
yeah.
Um,
It wouldn't surprise me if one of those later first round picks we go and pick up a ruckman just to try to develop him in the background. Yeah, I don't know. It's all where we've got plans for a Sean Darcy, trade or like free agency.
How
signing.
mental would that be if they're like the last day Sean Darcy requests a trade to North?
well, I'll tell you what, with 3 late first round picks, Freo couldn't complain about having like a return. Because
What would you give for him?
You'd happily give one of those easy, like
It'd have,
15.
it'd have to be more than that though.
I reckon I'd give 15 and 17 for him. To be honest with you,
Would I give 2 firsts? I'd want something else in return, like a second, like we did with Carlton.
maybe, yeah, but
I don't. I mean, Sean Darcy's one of the best ruckmen in the comp.
Still, man, 2 first round picks for a ruckman.
But you got how old is he? He's not that old.
no, he's young. Man.
He's young.
He'd be
He's
like
like
22, 23.
No,
I'd be on board. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think you'd try and not give 2 first round picks if you can avoid it.
Oh, of course. You want to you start with the lowest offer, obviously.
Anyway, stop
But
saying
that's
it
the
because it's not
max.
going to happen. You're getting me excited.
Can you imagine him feeding it down to Wardlaw and LDU?
I heard Walsh wants to get out of Carlton, go to North.
Hey,
What do you want?
so then
15 for him.
We'll get some more AFL assistants, and then we can make a trade for him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so we can.
Just got to make a call to Gil. Hang on.
That's
one
it.
second.
Hey, mate, we need help to make this.
And Walsh is like,
trade.
I'm only coming if Cripper comes with me.
Actually, we could use Charlie.
Yeah, true. We're gonna play Cripper as a ruck though. We've got too many midfielders.
He probably could.
Hey, that'd be crazy, man.
Bro, he played ruck in his Brownlow year. That's all
Well,
I'm
there we
saying.
go. Hey, there we go. We need a ruck.
Who says rucks don't win Brownlow? So cheers. All right, next one was another Essendon shopping at the North Melbourne shop. Ben Mackay going to the Bombers, but we did get something in return. And
What'd you get? What'd you get, boys?
We got
Free, brother.
pick 3, which I said it before, and I'll say it again. Like, I think any pick in the top 10 as compensation, it just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
End of first round should be like, that's the most you were giving.
So it's
you.
only because of the contract that he got picked through. That you
I
got
think he's on
picked
800 a year now.
Yeah,
Multi-year deal.
through. Fucking hell.
Here's the thing. Maybe even at one stage it was floated that North might get an end of non-finals teams draft pick, right? In the what's it called? In the assistance package. So pick 11, right? Maybe that could be the highest. So all the non-finals teams don't get affected.
The funny part is, just for Mackay, pick 11 also seems high. And pick 3, pick 3 is mental.
Yeah, true.
Look, in the context of North Melbourne, it feels more fair because we don't have another keyback.
Yeah, I know.
So, like, it's not just losing a decent keyback. You're losing the only real keyback you have.
yeah, and Logue is a key defender as well, but like he's not the.
No, he's undersized and he's injured. So
True. He doesn't really help much.
He's-
at
he's-
round 1.
his sort of best football will come one day if we're a decent team and he can intercept and run around. But for the moment, where we're a bad team, he doesn't look amazing. And even that, him being out is our best defender, right? So we're pretty much, we'll talk about our defense later, but it was a big loss for us, big contract. So therefore, a higher pick kind of feels like justified as a North fan, but I can totally agree. And I said, and I'll say it again, any pick in that top 10 just does not seem right for any player's compensation.
Yeah.
But we've seen it in the past. Like James Frawley left Melbourne to go to Hawthorn. They got like a top 3 pick as well, I believe.
Is that how they got was it Track and someone else? Or I can't remember what it was. Or maybe it was Brayshaw. Yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately as well, I think people are just pissed at North because we've used the future AFL picks to get more into this draft. So now we've got 2, 3, 15, 17, 18. And everyone's losing their minds.
Yeah. It basically...
That's a lot of draft capital, man.
I want more.
Yeah.
Give me more.
Think about it. If this, take out the assistance package, right? It's ended up being pick 44, right? For 2 end of first round picks really this year. And then Fisher and Stevens. So with the help of the assistants, that 3rd round pick became all that. It's pretty sweet, man. As a North fan, feels good, I tell you.
But yeah, look, Mackay himself, Essendon fans, this is my honest opinion. Like Mackay is a big boy. He can't kick. And I don't think you want him to, so that's okay. But he's a great intercept mark. He's very strong. But he does have some injury history, a few concussions this year, which is concerning.
True.
And the reason he's only played like 70-odd games in 8 years or 7 or 8 years is because he does get injured quite a bit. And it took him a while to develop in the first place. So
yeah, true.
It's not... Like, if he's fit, he'll be a great pick for you. But there's every chance that he only plays about 14, 15 games a year. That's just being honest.
Yeah, that would suck for Essendon if they're paying 800K for a dude who's only playing 15 games. But who knows? Maybe they'll get his body right. But
the concussions is the worrying bit. If I was an Essendon fan, that's like physical injuries can happen, like to any part of your body. But the head ones, this year he copped a couple innocuous sort of ones. It's a little bit worrying. But in saying that, would have loved to keep him. We'll have to sort of figure it out now. But
that's right. We've got a Pink on the way.
Toby Pink. I'm assuming he'll be on the list, and we'll talk about him at some point.
Yeah.
If he's not, we'll bring it up later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that one. Now, our favourite move of the off-season, the Bulldogs receiving James Harms, Melbourne receiving a future 3rd round pick.
Can we just skip this one? Yeah. We've talked about, stuff enough. James Harms got seduced into a role on, in the VFL side, and now he's going to Bulldogs.
He doesn't look good in the Bulldogs jersey. I think we can all agree.
Just...
Disgusting.
Yeah, just something about Harms as a player. It's just such an underwhelming player.
Well, him saying that Beveridge sold him a role in the team just means that Beveridge is a mastermind of
What does he say in those meetings?
What is he saying?
What is he saying?
Here's the thing. We were talking about it at the start of the year, right? I don't know when it was, right? But I searched up Greek players in AFL, and it came up with the Greek team of the century or whatever. Luke Beveridge was on it. And let's be fair, Greeks can talk shit. It makes a bit of sense.
What's he saying in the meeting? So Bont, I'm going to get you to play forward, right? And I'm going to get you to play midfield, right? And then you're off the half back, right? And then you ruck. And then you back forward. And then Bont's like, got your coach. I'm playing forward, mid, back. Is that how it goes?
He's told James Harms, Libba, forget about him. Forward pocket, back to the forward pocket for him. You're on ball, mate. Every centre bounce. Oh, God. Anyway. All right, yeah, we can move on. I think we all agree, if he does play, he's a decent footballer, but the Dogs just doesn't seem like the right fit for me. Now, the next one, more interesting again. So, Dylan Stevens to North and a 2nd round pick, which is pick 25. For Sydney, getting a 3rd round pick, which is 44, and one of North's 2 assistant picks, so a future 1st rounder. So Stevens and 2nd round pick, which was pick 25, for end of 1st and a 3rd round pick.
I like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's good for us. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think North did well. Yeah.
What is it? It's basically a 3rd round pick. The seconds, future 1st is kind of a 2nd. They get sort of swapped around. They're kind of equal in my eyes, considering we could have lost that pick next year if we held it. So, yeah, huge win. Stevens, he could be anything. You know what I mean? It
just adds class to your team. When you're rebuilding, you need classy players, right? So he holds down a wing for his career. He's a good kick. I think it's a very smart move.
Yeah.
For me, North generally in trades doesn't rip off teams, and we generally don't give away too much. I think Brady Rawlings seems like a pretty decent guy. He always sort of comes to an agreement with minimal fuss and gets it done pretty quickly. So seems like one of those ones. Do I think we could have gotten a better deal? Probably if we didn't have that future 1st round pick to just give away. We could have negotiated something even better.
Yeah.
But when you just sort of given a pick that everyone knows you want to get rid of, you're kind of tied into a corner a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
and look, we got pick 25 back as well.
That's what I like.
So I think it's win, very much a win for us. yeah, I've got no issues with it at all. So
Yeah. Perfect. And then Melbourne traded up to get pick 11. So they've given away a first round pick, so their one, which was 14, and 2 second round picks. So 27, 35, and 14 to nudge up 3 spots to 11.
You guys are the draft experts. What are they cooking for three spots up?
look, my initial thought was the Harley Reid 6 and 11. And here's an interesting one. They have a Western Australian key forward named Van Rooyen. He's Western Australian. So do they add that to the deal? Could you refuse that 6'11" and Van Rooyen for pick 1?
West Coast shouldn't refuse that.
Yeah,
In
because
my
then you
opinion.
have Oscar Allen and Van Rooyen as your pillars up forward, who are both going to be like, both of them are a decent contested mark. Both of them are, relatively mobile. You've set up your future and you get 6'11", which, who knows, you might have to trade up for Dan Curtin at that point. 6 and 11. Who knows if 6 is going to be enough to get the Western Australian kid. But yeah, I think that's what they're conjuring up personally. Whether Van Rooyen's involved or not, I don't know.
So Melbourne really want Reid then.
I think Melbourne can get Reid if they offer, is it 6 and 11 you said, Matsa? So I don't want North to get rid of 2 and 3. So West Coast's best bet might be pick 6.
Yeah.
And pick 11 as a throw-in. Melbourne might be aggressive and give them next year's first too. You don't know.
Yeah, but you got to think their future first will be like pick 15 or something.
Yeah.
It's not like that. Like it's not as valuable as
It can't be lower than they can't finish lower than 6th. Melbourne, surely not.
yeah, unless crazy stuff happens with Oliver and this and that. And West Coast could bank on that and be like, maybe, a fall off season, but I doubt it.
It's interesting, man. Yeah, you're right though. They've given up, not too much. 2 second round picks to go up 3 spots in a draft where everyone knows like the top 10 is sort of where you want to be. Yeah, good move for Melbourne. I think you're a good team. You want to add high-end talent.
Yeah.
Those late picks probably not going to play. So
Because who knows? A dude like an O'Sullivan could drop out. They could pick him up at 11. Caddy could drop to 11. There's some dudes who are solid, who can fall out of the top, 10 picks.
But if they don't do some crazy trade to West Coast, really they're just moving up 3 spots for those picks.
yeah,
Yeah.
Be interesting to see who they end up landing there.
exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe they just don't rate anyone in the second round and they're just happy to offload the second rounders. Because they have a pretty, they've got a lot of high-end talent. They would probably rather just get the best of the best, to complement them rather than just get, fodder,
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what they're thinking?
Fodder. That's hilarious.
But not the best word to use. Sorry, second round picks out there.
Send them in to get just destroyed.
And obviously Gold Coast getting 14 and 2 second rounders just helps with them matching bids. So not much to say there. Cool. And then again, Gold Coast involved in some pick swaps. So they got rid of that pick 14 actually. So they instantly just got rid of it to the Crows with Burgess.
Yeah.
And they got in 2 second round picks, 23
More
and
picks,
26.
yeah.
So that's literally just
Burgess is just the throw in.
wanted to go already, and then you've pretty much turned 14 into 23 and 26, which points wise works out better. So
Yeah.
good deal for the Crows.
Yeah, I think both Gold Coast killed it with this just getting picks and getting points. They've done a great job, and Burgess, man, he's a solid key defender and key forward. So yeah, a little throw in there. That's cool.
Tell you what though, anyone sort of complaining about North's compensation stuff, like the Gold Coast Suns are going to pick the best key forward in the draft, the best ruckman in the draft.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's very good.
The best, maybe the second best player under 175 centimeters in the draft.
Yeah, possibly. So they're going to get 3 top 13, 14 picks for clearly just a bunch of second rounders.
Yeah,
It's kind of ridiculous.
And I think the whole AFL is gonna pay for it in the next 5 years because Gold Coast are gonna be stacked and they're gonna be good.
They've had so many draft picks that have failed though.
Yeah,
No.
look,
Walter's not going to fail.
Wa-
though.
yeah,
I can
Walter-
guarantee
As
It
long
might
as
be
he's
the end
fit.
of the failure of the Gold Coast. I think they might turn it around now.
yeah, you add Walter to Ben King in the forward line. They're just two monsters.
And Casbolt.
True.
Yeah, they're going to be very solid. And then Jake Rogers, another dude who's a smart footballer. You can't be like 172, 173 centimeters and not be smart. You know what I mean? So he'll find a role as well.
Well, the academies themselves, I mean, think about Gold Coast in general. They would have learnt a lot of lessons on player development and things. Like Sydney's academy is notorious for being one of the strongest ones.
Yep.
The team in the championship, so there's Vic Country, Vic Metro, there's SA, WA. The New South Wales sort of Tassie, Queensland hybrid team, the Allies, won it comfortably this year.
Oh, wow.
Undefeated. And that's because guys like from their academy, from the Sydney Academy, Tassie, were just essentially just running rings around everybody.
Yeah, well, think about it. It's Walter, Reed, Rogers,
McKercher was in there.
Sanders. I don't know who the...
O'Sullivan was in there.
Where's he from?
Sorry.
I thought he was Victorian. Yeah, I'm not too sure, but like the
I think he was
Tassie
in
kids,
there.
just the Tassie kids
Anyway.
and the Gold Coast kids. That's six. That's almost 6 out of the top 15 players in the draft.
Played for the Allies. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so that's pretty impressive from interstate. Matching it with the Vics.
exactly right. And the next trade actually was North contributing to their draft hand, but receiving. Actually, no, the other way around. We got pick 18 off the Suns, and we've given them our other next year assistance pick.
Yeah, the pick that we had to get rid of.
Yes, you just swapped it. You swapped a pick that you might not be able to use next year to now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty much going to land in a very similar spot. So
Yeah, because it's probably going to get pushed. It could get pushed back further, considering how many father-son / academy
both this
players.
year's one will get pushed and next year's. So
Yeah, true. 'Cause
That's fine.
Carlton have their picks next year. Their father-sons.
So yeah, obviously the Suns had enough picks where they didn't need any more, and North could give them some assurance for next year, where I'm sure they'll have another academy process to get going on, and North obviously gets them in the first round again. So not too much to say there. Grundy goes to Sydney for pick 46 and a future second round pick, which will be somewhere 20 to 25 probably.
It's good for Sydney, man. Surely, with Hickey retiring, they've got a team, as I said before, that's trying to win a flag, and one of the best solo ruckmen going straight into their team.
Oh, mate, at ground level, who's going to beat him, man? Like him, Taylor Adams, Chad Warner, Goulden.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
Park
tough
is
to-
still around.
Park, exactly. That's going to be so hard to beat, once the ball hits the deck. So, yeah, you'd think they're going to
They've
rise
bolstered
up.
their team. They've bolstered their team.
In the spots where they needed it, like desperately needed it. Ruck and the inside mid depth. Yeah, I think there's no reason they don't rise next year, from being a team that shouldn't have made finals to a team that'll, probably contend for the top 4.
Pretty wild what Grundy's been through though since he signed that big contract. Like I've never seen a player sign such a big deal and then very quickly just have his career.
It so clearly wasn't the right fit for that team. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
But even Collingwood getting rid of him in general, I know they had the salary cap issue at the same time, so trying to balance that, getting rid of a big contract is the way to go. But
They could have
Yeah,
kept him in the end, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because McStay didn't even play in the final. Like, what difference would it have made if it was Grundy and Darcy Cameron playing in the forward line or Mason Cox playing in the forward line? You know
Yeah, but
I
what
mean?
did Grundy leaving give Collingwood? Surely they got something.
As in,
Collingwood. What did Collingwood get for Grundy
maybe a
leaving?
second round pick?
Where did that pick go?
Who knows, man? I don't know. Do you think I know every trade? Like,
Where did it go?
I don't know.
Did it have anything to do with Bobby Hill?
May? No, I think Bobby Hill was like a third round pick, man.
Bobby was a second, but I think it was last year, not the year before.
Yeah, I don't know.
crazy. But no, I think we can all agree Sydney's done really well there.
Yeah.
And then they followed that up with Taylor Adams. So
Yeah, another, again, just...
pick 33 to Collingwood, Taylor Adams in.
It's good value.
Yeah, nice. He's still a very solid player. He just couldn't get the inside minutes now because Tom Mitchell was there. This is something that a friend told me, a Collingwood supporter said, that apparently with Taylor Adams, he felt a bit hard done by because the week of the grand final, he said, all right, guys, I'm going to be ready to go. Collingwood apparently said to him, okay, we're going to give you a fitness test Tuesday. And he's like, come on, make it Thursday, make it captain's run, yeah? And they said, nah, you got to do it by Tuesday. By Tuesday, he wasn't up to it. He wanted that extra couple days, and by then, he might have been ready to go. If that's true, he's been hard done by big time. Vice captain as well.
Yes and no, but I guess Collingwood medical staff would know what's these 2 days going to do, match fitness wise, and
No, but do you think they just didn't want him in the team?
That's what I'm getting at. They made him jump hoops. You know
Because
what I mean?
Lipinski is not as good as Adams, but can he play a role that Adams can't play?
I think it would purely have to do with wanting the fittest guys available in the team. And if he's going to make it, like regular season make it, that's not good enough for a grand final. You don't want to be carrying anyone.
There you go.
At the end of the day, they won, right? So
Exactly.
True. That was a very reasonable take from you, Dano.
Well, let's be honest though. Like,
yeah.
I get why he would feel hard done by personally.
You
Like,
get why he wants out.
well, and that's right. In the regular season, waiting till Thursday, no worries. If you can play, you can play. But it's the grand final, man.
So if you're Adams, right? If you play Collingwood next year, so you play as part of the Collingwood team next year, you're playing with teammates that are all premiership players, and you're not. That you couldn't. He has to get out, man.
Yeah.
He has to get out and try forge his own journey. It's the only way to do it, I think. For being honest.
Yeah,
So it makes sense why he's gone.
It's the human side of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I agree. Well, look, pick 33 is one of those ones for Sydney. Like, obviously, the upside is gone inside mid. Downside, if he just keeps getting injured and can't get into the team, no one's going to fault you for giving away pick 33. So it's a good deal. Definitely. Now, one of the biggest moves of the offseason, Zach Fisher to North Melbourne.
Everyone's claiming like this kid's a superstar or something
Mate,
like that.
have you seen those highlight reels, John?
I have actually. When North posted the highlight reel, or was it on Instagram or something like that?
It's all good, lads. All good. Sorry. I just forgot. I forgot to check the levels on the thing, and it just gave me anxiety, so I had to check it.
That's all right, mate. All good.
A little bit of time for our viewers to stretch their legs a bit.
That's it, man. That's a quick little intermission.
I did see that highlights package, and I'm like, whoa, does this guy play for Carlton? Like that highlight package makes him look like Gary Ablett, bro.
It's insane, man.
Yeah. Dodging around plays and shit like that. Crazy. Yeah, look, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Zach Fisher. I'm very interested. I'm going to watch him very eagerly next year to see what he's going to do at North. I don't think Carlton got robbed or anything like that. I think they got basically a second rounder for him, which is kind of where he was picked in the draft originally. He is a good player. He doesn't really fully fit into the Carlton team anymore, but he should fit quite nicely into the North team. So it might be a win-win. We'll see. I'm very interested to see what happens with Fisher next year.
I think it's good because it bags you guys to, similarly placed picks to the one that you gave up.
So Carlton obviously feels like they don't need the pick 17, was it?
So, I was just going to say, I didn't actually read out the full trade. So it was Zach Fisher and pick 17 this year to North for pick 21 and pick 25.
Yeah, so they must feel that they can get a similar player, 7 or 8 places later on in the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, or who knows? If a player's not available, they might even trade that into a second next year for the Camporelli
twins. Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it gives them a bit more options if they want to,
2 versus 1 gives them options.
Yeah, and do they want to bolster this year's draft? Do they want to bolster next year's? You don't know. So I think it's a very good move. Zach Fisher, as a North fan, is exciting because whenever we get a guy with a bit of outside, run and class, like. It just feels like something that we've just missed for years.
It does feel like he's going to settle well into North. Yeah. I do think that as a team, I can't think of too many other teams where Fisher would make more sense.
Well, apparently he's going to have a preseason at halfback. So a North team that's had Sheasel there who looked like a star, obviously we want him in the midfield and forward where he's most damaging. And the rest of our defence, look, we've got some young kids there, Bergman, Goda, Jackson Archer potentially, if he can get fit. But ultimately, if you can have Zach Fisher in the halfback getting 20 to 25 touches,
which he will get,
that'll be the best option of all of it. So
then he becomes a bit of a super coach option, I reckon.
Potentially.
Taking the Sheasel / Aaron Hall role.
What about the Jake Lloyd role, potentially? Seagull.
Who knows, man? Maybe. Well, look, I think you want the ball in his hands. He's a decent kick. So, yeah.
I like it. Cool. And then we've got Jade Gresham to the Bombers. St Kilda received end of round 1 compensation, pick 21. So that's the 3rd or 4th time the team's got end of round 1 compensation so far. What do we make of Gresham to the Bombers, boys?
I actually like it. Yeah. I think Gresham, it's hard to know what his ceiling is because sometimes he plays amazingly. Sometimes he just, Saints fans will say that he just kicks the ball, misses his target all the time. So he's one of those players that is up and down. But I think at his best, he's quite good. And Bombers, that Tip and Woody didn't work for them as a small forward. I think he slots into the team pretty easily and just adds some more damage. So and the Saints get a decent compensation pick from him as well. So it might be an okay trade for both.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's only a 3-year contract as well. So it's not like they're losing, it's not that high a risk. You know,
Mm.
you take him for 2-3 years as a player.
Yeah, you
5
try
or,
him, man.
5 or 6, you'd be like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Gresham's a very solid player. He's had a bit of injury history, but if he stays on the park, he's a good player.
He can run to the midfield as well. Add some little bit of spice.
Yeah.
Did
Bit of
St
spice.
Kilda not want to keep him though? Because I just find it interesting. Like you mentioned, it's a 3-year deal to the Bombers, who obviously didn't make finals this year. I just wonder what's in it from Gresham's point of view. Like, what's he being promised? More midfield minutes?
I don't
That's
know.
easy to promise someone and then not deliver on, to be honest.
Yeah, because that's what all clubs do.
It would be a very Brad Scott thing to do.
And midfield minutes is like the golden thing. That's what brought Fisher over, and he's training off the halfback. That changed instantly. Harms midfield minutes on the bench.
I don't know why
VFL.
players want to play midfield so much though. Like if you're Gresham, wouldn't you want to play mainly like high half forward and then pinch
It's a
it in the
hard
midfield?
role. It's such a hard role to play.
Like
Half
I would have
forward.
more fun kicking a few goals and then going in the midfield for a couple bounces.
No, it's
than being
unrewarding,
like-
man. Everyone says that you go to the half forward line to die. For your career
If you're
to
not
die.
good enough,
Yeah, true.
if you're good, then it's a great role.
yeah,
It's so hard to be good at that role.
Yeah, just Stevie J. He used to play. He went forward line, freaking went crazy. you
Yeah,
know
that's
what I
Stevie J though.
mean? Stevie, yeah.
Stevie
I
J is
like-
better than Gresham.
Yeah, true. Like Paul Chapman, you know.
Just
Wasn't he half forward as well? Old
yeah,
Chappie.
yeah, Chappie.
Yeah, Chicky Chappie. You know, those type of players, mate. Wouldn't-
Geelong greats.
Yeah, Geelong greats. Like, but wouldn't you want to be that type of player? Little Chappie, a Robert Gray?
I'd rather be a midfielder, man, than a Chappie.
No, I'd rather be Robbie Gray, man.
I was going to say Robert Gray.
Yeah,
Very formal.
I know. Robert Gray, Bob Gray,
Roberto.
Roberto Gray.
But what type of career could Roberto Gray have had in the midfield, though? A better career than the forward line.
Yeah, of course. But the thing is now, like, I have fond memories of Robbie Gray, but you know
I
what I mean?
don't.
Otherwise, he would have just been just another.
I don't, bro.
You
He kicked how many goals off from the boundary against Carlton in one?
Yeah,
Carlton?
fair enough. See, but like, what I'm getting at is like that he would have just been another midfielder, whereas now he's a forward. Toby Green, you know what I mean? He's a bit more special. He's not just an accumulator.
Yeah.
So you know, I don't know. I'm backing Dino on this. You know, play half forward. You know.
Especially if you're Gresham, like you're not going to play full-time minutes.
No.
Even if Brad Scott's promised you that, it ain't going to happen, man.
Maybe he just doesn't like Ross Lyon.
Maybe, yeah. That's fine.
Ross Lyon's too defensive, whereas Gresham's not a good defender. You know what I mean? So he's like, nah, get out of here.
Ross Lyon doesn't speak in sentences. He's never any full stops. And Gresham just can't handle it 'cause there's no when to start or finish the conversation.
Does he sort of ends his sentences like this?
Yeah,
Like that?
he does,
That's what
he
he does.
does.
You know, like yeah. I don't.
It's
know.
hard to replicate the way he speaks, actually.
Yeah, it's so like we played a really decent game. I don't know. It's something like that.
I like the first part, but then you just continue without stopping. Another point.
Okay, so he's just kind of like old man rambling.
It's just one of these ones. It's like how Greek girls talk, right?
Nah.
but without the high pitch.
Yeah,
And you just keep talking
and
forever.
it's not a hot Greek girl.
And it's not hot Greek girl.
So what's the point?
Ross Lyon might have been attractive as a young man. I don't know.
Who knows, man? Who knows? I'm not gonna Google that to see what he looks like.
Someone in the comments type in Ross Lyon hot young man. See?
Don't search that. Are the Saints bringing in anyone other than Liam Henry?
Dow is the suspected one, which I think will happen.
So
Yeah.
Henry for Gresham. How do we feel about that as an overall move for the Saints?
It's not 100% like for like because Henry's I think become a winger.
Look, I think you're replacing Gresham with someone who's younger and probably has a bit more promise. You know, whereas we kind of Jade Gresham is a known quantity. I don't think he's going to go any better than what he is right now. So
No.
you may as well, go for Liam Henry.
Fair enough. The next trade to talk about is the Demons getting Fullerton from Brizzy for pick 47.
It's fine.
Yeah.
They lose Grundy. They need a backup ruckman. Their forward line is not sorted 100%. Melbourne. So who knows what that final mix is going to look like. They give him a chance.
Yeah, I haven't really done any research into Fullerton to see if he's played as a key forward or as a ruckman in the VFL, but from memory, he's played a few games for Brisbane, so he can't be that bad. Most really average key positions just don't get a game. So yeah,
Just having a quick look at the VFL stats. I think he played more ruck
okay.
than anything, but let me just give me 2 seconds to
Well,
just
look,
check that.
He's not going to get number one ruck minutes with Gorn around, and Gorn he deserves a shot at just full ruck time because when he did it this year, he was crazy.
Man, that guy's first picked in my Supercoach team next year. Gone.
Grundy's going to be cheaper though.
They would get them both.
Yeah, but then there was
So-
another option that was really good as well. There was another cheaper Like Jordan Sweet will be cheap. He's going to get a number one ruck role. There was another one. I can't remember who it was. There's another dude who's like,
Gorn 170s every week, bro. Just think about
true.
that.
Yeah, not true. We can go back to Grandy. Was that what it was called? Grandy?
I think just Gaundy.
Gaundy?
Yeah.
Gaundy. Yeah, get the Gaundy combo.
So I've got more information here. I think he played mainly as a forward.
Okay.
Reason I say that, he averaged 15 touches. He kicked 30 goals in the VFL.
That's solid.
And he had only 4.6 hit outs a game. So that just tells me he was pinch hitting.
Yeah.
So that'll be his role if he gets on the park.
You might actually get on the park.
Might actually, with that more logical forward ruck rather than the Grundy type. So
is Tom McDonald still there? Or did he retire?
He's there.
He needs to retire, I think.
Yeah, that's not what I asked. But I know he needs to, but
Does he know he needs to?
yeah, probably.
Probably does.
Yeah, true. He's just like
He's milking the cow.
yeah, true. He's he's probably on another 400-500, K.
No way is that much.
Yeah, Tom McDonald. When he would have signed his last contract, it would have been a big contract, surely. Because Tom McDonald, he was a gun, man. During their peak years, he was 40, 50 goal forward.
he had like one really good year.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, man. Yeah. That's when he marked everything.
Yeah.
That was probably when I was not in Greece this year, but the previous time, which was 2018. That is a while ago.
Jeez.
I just remember being, just being in Greece and saying Tom McDonald 140. Supercoach.
That's such a random memory.
I have a vague memory of him just going crazy because people were saying, "Oh, you should trade him in." I'm like, key forward.
It's so funny how Supercoach shapes our memory of AFL seasons.
Yeah,
Bad. Cool. And the last trade actually so far just happened yesterday, which was Tyler Brockman to the Eagles.
Yeah.
And the Hawks receiving pick 44 and 63. Which, considering he was a free agent, it could have just walked to the Eagles with pick one of the rookie draft.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal for the Hawks in the end to get a couple picks.
Yeah. Well, look,
Will they
can
use those picks?
Yeah.
44 you might use, yeah.
Yeah. I think they're going to use them for they can use the later one for to match, or even both of them to match their father's son, Will McCabe, or the more likely scenario is that they're going to use them for Mabi or Chol, or they've got another couple guys lined up. Maybe Gunston, who we have to talk about that one.
Coming home.
Yeah, there's another article about moves yet to happen. So continue what you're saying there.
With Gunston, man, like he comes in for 1 year at Brisbane, not picked in the final, quits straight away. I think fair enough, because you go to a team who's on the verge of contending, so you can play. You don't go there, just to sit on the bench. This dude obviously, values himself. He's only 31. He values his, contributions to a team. Fair enough. He wants to get out, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Well, wasn't he the person that said with Daniel Rich that don't play me, I'm not in the right form?
Yes. Yeah. That's true.
So from his own admission at that point in time, which is mid to late of that season, was like, I'm not quite good enough yet.
Maybe that was his mistake, is that he kind of gave them an excuse to drop him. And then
The interesting thing as well is, like, theoretically, the Lions brought him in to help in September where he has so much experience. And it worked. Like, not worked from his point of view, but they made it deep into September. They made the final, right? So you just think, what would a fit firing Gunston do? I've seen him change games. Like, when all the attention's on Danaher and Hipwood, he pops up, kicks 3 or 4.
Do you think he would have changed the grand final result?
If he's in form, absolutely. He's very high IQ, very smart with his leads, and obviously has played in grand finals. But it just didn't work out, right? So
do you think it would have changed it?
Look, it probably would have been too tall a forward line. Like, maybe instead of Hipwood, you go him instead.
Which you're not going to do, right?
No, probably not. But yeah, I don't know. Look, I think he'd be a great acquisition for Hawthorn, re-signing him. Because then you would have him possibly, if Chol comes in, who's their big guy?
Mitchell Lewis.
Oh, Mitch Lewis.
Yeah. So I think that'd be a pretty solid forward line with, the smalls like Dylan Moore.
And Bruce is still there.
He's still very good as well.
Yeah, Bruce is still a gun, even at 48, however old he is.
Yeah, he's the same age as Mackie, I think.
Yeah, both vampires.
I
think it'd be a good pickup. I wonder if any other Victorian clubs are in on Gunston. If he just wants to come home.
Well, everyone just lazily sort of says, Clarko with his relationship with him.
Bad.
Nothing's been said. I wouldn't expect it, to be honest.
It'd be an interesting one for us. Look, I would take it, to be honest with you. I wouldn't.
Oh,
I-
if we give next to nothing for him, absolutely.
yeah,
Why not?
Yeah. You wouldn't say no.
But I think, if he's said Hawthorn, he'll get to Hawthorn.
Yeah, true.
Cool. So I've got the moves yet to happen, and there's just a whole bunch of names. We'll do rapid fire-ish
Okay.
for some of them that don't have a rumor attached. So Jack Billings. Apparently,
I wouldn't mind him for the Dow, to be honest. Actually, Carlton-wise, I wouldn't mind him.
so if not like a straight swap, just bring him in if you lose Dow. Yeah.
Yeah.
However it works out.
Well, I'd happy for some sort of deal in that way. But I don't know, is he linked to anyone?
Collingwood apparently throughout the year, but now they're getting Schultz. So you can almost say no on that one for Collingwood. It's interesting, man. Obviously, he's very talented, but just injured a lot.
Yeah. The issue for him is that I think he has a big contract on him. So it's just it's a negative asset now.
Until 2025, you're right.
Is that what it says?
That's what it says. Doesn't say the money, but
Yeah. Let's
Another-
assume it's let's say it's between 400 and 600. I think that's a fair guess to make for a guy with that higher potential. And at that time when he would have signed it, St Kilda weren't bringing in, they weren't attracting big names. So, yeah.
I could see why he needs a new start. But like, if you're the Saints, why not try and hold him to that contract and get the most out of him again? He's had injuries. Like, surely there's scope to work with him.
They know, they have information that no other club has about him. So we don't know. Maybe they just think he's a lost cause.
Intangibles might not be there. You know what I mean? Just he might not be a dude that they like around the club. Like, as crazy as it sounds, I think there's probably a lot of players who don't meet the vibe check, and they just, you know what I mean? And
Culture-wise, positivity, who knows?
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not saying that I know anything about Billings, about his vibe.
Firstly, Billings
I'm sure he's got a
depresso.
cool.
He's a depresso.
Yeah.
Nobody likes him.
Look, the thing is, he was best mates with Luke McDonald. Luke McDonald he's probably the most likable bloke in the world because he shouldn't be a captain, right? So you know what I mean. So Billings must be somewhat cool.
No, but maybe opposites attract.
True.
maybe McDonald and Billings are yin to yang.
maybe. One of them's like super talented but not liked. One of them's no talent but liked a lot. There we go.
Well, you know what? With North bringing in Logue and then Fisher, best mates, McDonald, Billings, done.
Yeah, there we go, man.
we just saved the world. We just
That's
cured
it.
the world.
Done.
Reuniting all the friends.
So next one we already kind of touched on, Marby or Chol to Hawthorn. Apparently the Suns want a future second round pick. Hawthorn wants to deal more with third rounders. So probably that'll get done at some point.
Oh, the Chol one.
The Chol one,
Yeah.
Nick Caulfield wants to go to the Dogs from the Saints.
Another dude who wants to go to the Dogs and we don't understand.
For no
Why didn't they
apparent
try get him instead of Harms?
Exactly right. But it looks like, what does it say? Yeah, Saints have been looking for the Dogs to add pick 40 to the deal, and then some other picks. So I think, there'll be some pick swapping and whatever stuff going on there. But
They'll get that one done.
They'll get that done.
Another weird one.
the weirdest one for me is this next one coming up. And I just cannot understand why Essendon, surprise, surprise, Dodoro, being so adamant on getting anything of significant value in return for D'Ambrosio. You're not playing him, and you picked him up in the mid-season draft.
Yeah.
Bro, like, fourth round pick is what you're getting.
He wants a pick 7.
Yeah. It's like, the thing is, I think he was only going to give him a 1-year deal. Shows how much you value him.
Like, fourth round pick at best.
Yeah.
Who's he going to?
Hawthorn.
Yeah,
Hawthorn.
Hawthorn's an interesting destination because they've got a lot of running halfbacks.
But that's their game style. They're just ballistic.
Yeah, true. And I guess he sort of, because Brockman was kind of coming onto the wing and sort of starting the plays on halfback a bit. You know what I mean? So maybe it's sort of a slight...
Well, sort of like, it's kind of irrelevant what Hawthorn plans to do with him. It's more just, if you're the Bombers, you're not even playing this guy. And
exactly.
you picked him up in the mid-season draft. There's no way you have any bargaining power here. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
ridiculous.
And then if he can walk, he'll walk.
Yeah.
Like, just get something out of him.
It's just weird, man. Weird. Paddy Dow, we already kind of spoke about.
I think it's definitely going to happen, by the way. So.
Yeah, for sure.
So he'll get to the Saints. Look, what does that mean for St Kilda? I guess if they give him a chance, he might
I think he'll be all right.
do something
Yeah, I think
there.
he'll be all right.
Well, he showed in the minutes that he got for Carlton this year that he can at least rack up some posies and, do the grunt work.
He's a very inside player. He doesn't have outside class. So,
Which is a bit of a concern when you've already got Crouch and Jack Steele like that. You know what I mean?
well,
I
Jack
don't
Steele, when he's fit, I think has outside. Brad Crouch, I don't know, man.
I think it might. But then in saying that, you have those inside grunty players, and then you've got they've got a lot of class on the outside.
They do.
You know,
They do.
with
They've got Sinclair,
Nazaya, and now Henry coming.
Henry as well. Yeah.
All good. This next one we did speak about. So Xavier Dersma going to the Bombers.
Yeah.
That probably will get done. Although, given the Radaglia Zerk Thatcher situation happening around it, might not be done till later on. This next one's strange and interesting. I guess Orazio Fantasia to the Giants.
Yeah, there's not much to really say about it. It's just like
Not
this
unless it
dude-
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, the dude's kind of faded away, unfortunately, because he was a pretty exciting player. They'll get him as a rookie probably, and probably never play him. And and if he does play, then maybe he can regenerate his career.
Well, he's one where didn't he demand a trade to the Power, and then I should say demand. He requested a trade to the Power. They didn't let him go. Then the next year he did it again and did get there. And then he's just not had a great career at Port Adelaide.
No,
But is it injuries or?
Yeah, he's been injured. So ultimately, like the last 4 or 5 years of his career have just been really wishy-washy.
He actually could be good for them. That's the funny thing.
If he's fit, we know he's skillful.
Because they who retired?
Lloyd.
Similar role, eh?
Similar, man.
Yeah, I get it. Next one we spoke about, Jack Gunston just recently wants to go back to the Hawks, so that'll probably get done. Sam Hayes at Port Adelaide. It's one of those rucks without a home. Interesting. I'm not sure where he'll end up.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe rookie listed at a team who needs a ruck. Maybe it's North. Who knows?
Potentially.
I don't know. Not much, yeah.
Liam Henry, we already kind of spoke about. So Saints apparently not wanting to give away pick 13
Fair enough.
or 21.
Oh.
But the Dockers do want an early second round pick. So that 21 might need to move somehow.
Yeah, I think that has to get involved.
Or split it for 2 second rounders and keep one and trade the other. Something like that. Cool. Now, this is where Carlton finally comes into it. Elijah Hollins. Kind of the only player that Carlton's been linked with, to be honest.
Yeah.
What's being said here is the Blues held discussions with Gold Coast on Friday. Suns want to upgrade picks this year and next year. So it just looks like 50-50 at the moment, this one.
Yeah.
There's been no request. Like some of the other trades have had requests.
Yeah.
Or not trades, but there's requests, so we'll see if they happen. This one, there's been no official.
Yeah. And Gold Coast sort of obviously invested a top 5 pick for this kid, and he's not really been fit enough to pay that back yet. So if he's not demanding a trade, I wouldn't be in a rush, because I'll tell you what he's done in the VFL Grand Final. He played in the guts, 33 touches, 10 tackles.
Yeah.
Jeez. See, I think
He fits Carlton's profile, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just the Dow replacement who's not going to get played. The thing is with Carlton, I feel like they're very similar in a positive way to the Bulldogs, where all their stars are young. So there's no real rush to get a dude in right now.
They're becoming peak. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
They're becoming peak.
they're entering their best years of footy. Cripps probably, is he one of the older ones?
Cripps a bit older, Doc's a bit older, but like Walsh, Chera are still like 22, 23.
Kerner's young.
Kerno's 25, 26.
Harry Mackay.
Same age. Wiedering, same age.
Yeah, so Harry Mackay, despite his hairline, he's still pretty young.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. There's not... the age isn't really the concern for Carlton, but they've officially entered the window, so it's time to do something, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something tells me that one won't get done.
I don't think it will either.
Because they're going to demand a lot. You guys don't have too much to give.
It just depends how much they rate him, how much Hollands wants to come home and play with his brother, whether he even wants that.
Yeah, well, he might be thinking, "Well, am I going to get at Carlton, or I'm not going to get the opportunity as well?" I don't know if
can he play a half forward role though?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then that's perfect, man. Jack Martin gets injured with the calf once. Hollands comes straight in.
And I guess if he's really that good, and he starts doing a little bit of inside work, he might even displace a Hewitt or something.
Voss was saying that he wants more rotation to the midfield. Right.
Oh,
So you've got your guns, and then you've got players like Dockery that rotate. You've got players like who else would rotate through there? Akers a little bit, Hollands a little bit. So yeah, but the forward line doesn't get that involved in the midfield rotations. Bit of Fogarty, but Fogarty's not going to survive.
Yeah, nah.
Apart from that, not many of Carlton's forwards rotate through the mid, so that's the type of player that could do that.
I like it. I think he'd be a good asset to Carlton, but I'm just not sure Gold Coast is going to be reasonable enough. And fair enough. Elliot Himmelberg, standoff talks between Adelaide and GWS until apparently Adelaide can get Harrison Petty potentially. So they're unwilling to get rid of
Man,
Himmelberg for
have
now.
you heard what they're going to offer Petty?
Ridiculous.
It's like first year $1 million and then 800 after that.
What?
Exactly, bro. It's crazy.
That's called
Like,
you have cap and don't know what to do with it.
yeah. Look, I kind of get it because Petty looked good. Like, I can see the vision, but he had like maybe, 4 good games in the forward line? And that's about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's like Carlton offering Zach Williams midfield minutes because he played one good final.
yeah.
And then he comes in and is like, oh, I'm still learning midfield.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I wouldn't have thought Elliot Himmelberg's, like him leaving, really affects you too much.
But
Nah.
it's fair enough for them to go, unless we get Petty, we can't get rid of another forward.
Yeah,
True.
because they've already lost Duday in the defense. That's one key position gone.
They brought in Burgess.
And Burge comes in, but they needed depth, like anyway. So
Fair enough.
yeah. The thing I was like, I don't know if was I saying it to you guys that like if they kept getting these key positions, at what point does Rob become available? Does he ever become available?
They really rate him, like around the club.
He's
just-
not a bad ruckman, man.
No, he's
Yeah.
good. He's
I
good.
know. I don't know. I just want an experience rocket more. I'm clutching at straws here, man.
Oh, jeez.
Like not that I don't rate Cherry, but I don't. Like just
Fair enough, man. There's a couple we're getting to, so maybe you can plead your case for them. But
Yep.
the next one's actually Jacob Kazitsky.
Mm.
yeah.
Hawthorn apparently wants a top 25 pick for him,
They're dreaming,
which is wild.
dreaming, man.
I
Like,
know key forwards don't grow on trees, but like, geez.
Is he like he's not? He shouldn't be considered key forward yet. Status. He hasn't. How many goals has the guy kicked in his
nah.
career, man?
What does he weigh? Like 80 kilos? Like he can't like.
Nah, I think
he's a bit bigger than that,
yeah.
but like he's not. He doesn't look physically imposing at all. Like in my eyes.
And Richmond doesn't really have much to give, right? So they've currently got picks 29, 50, and 68. So 50 is probably a bit harsh considering he's a mature body.
Yeah.
And 29 seems a bit too much. So it's probably something in the 30s or early 40s,
Yeah.
which Richmond doesn't have at the moment. So they're going to have to do something there. But
Here we go. Here's mine. So they have pick 44 from the Brockman deal. Future second and 40 get involved. So they get Richmond's future second. They give back 44 and Kazitsky. Fair trade. There we go.
I like it, Matsa.
When it happens, you heard it here first.
Matt's got a career in being a list manager. I think.
Yeah, I know. That's it.
I would love that job, to be honest.
Bro, legit. Like, I think...
Let's volunteer to be the list managers for the Tassie team.
Look,
They're just perpetually bad forever.
yeah, there's a couple jobs that I'd love to have. List manager, or as Harley Reid said in that interview, Cal Toomey. Like, to be Cal Toomey would be pretty sick.
Whatever your
Not gonna
job is,
lie,
Cal.
bro.
That's what he said,
know,
yeah.
no,
What
whatever-
is
whatever-
his job, man?
I don't know, but I just like let's be fair. Like he's so well respected in the community as a draft dude, as the dude who breaks news. It's pretty sweet.
must
He's
say, like,
likable too. People trust him.
Listen-
yeah.
I was got to say though, listening to trade radio throughout the day, there's so many shows they've got like Kane Corns and Brad Johnson, or like Damien Barrett, and like who is it? He's with Phil Davis and Josh Jenkins. And honestly,
Ugh,
like
that's not the
listening,
one you
I must
listen
just
to.
say, like this isn't riding or anything, but like Riley Beveridge and Cal Toomey, I must say, they're a pleasure to listen to, knowledgeable, and always breaking like factual news.
Yeah, that's writing, bro.
Yeah.
You're
No.
right. You're writing. Just admit
No,
it.
just respect. That's all it is.
like I had to say, it's not writing, just so that we didn't
That makes
get to.
that makes it writing.
Yeah,
That makes it writing down.
But
Right,
no,
fair
legit.
enough.
How can you be in the media and not be disliked?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, not many people get that.
Yeah.
You know, like Josh Jenkins says one thing, and now I'm off Josh Jenkins. I had no issues with Josh Jenkins before media, but now it's just like he says one
why is
wild
Josh
thing.
Jenkins in the
And
media?
Adam Cooney is like, not to start hating on the rest of them, but like
Nah, let's hate.
his show with the other guy is like so boring. He sits there like naming the best 23 of every team, and he's basically just reading their round 24 team and throwing in someone that was injured.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
How is this taking up? Like, you listen to that for 3 minutes and then 10 minutes of ads. But anyway,
Yeah.
all right, next one. Scott Lysette, Matsa. Would you take Lysette at North?
If we don't do anything else in the ruck space, then why not? But he's not doing you much. It's similar to a Goldie situation, to be honest with you, where like, and he's not as good as Goldie. He's just a solid ruck. You have him for 1 or 2 years, and that's it.
Yep.
Then you're done.
Apparently, Geelong, North, and Collingwood surveying their rock options.
Yeah.
So
I think he's the worst case scenario for all those teams. And if they don't get him, they'll just go, all right, we'll just pick someone up in the VFL, from the VFL, like we did with Hamish Free last year.
Fair enough. Shane McAdam. So this was called early that he's requested to go to Melbourne, but it's also just taken a while to get traction.
Adelaide seem to really rate him highly. They're like I feel like they're asking more than a second for him, which I think is crazy.
What they're asking for now is to attach a first-round pick to him to get Petty. So they're seemingly all in on
Petty's
Petty.
the god answer to them, bro.
Yeah,
$1 million a year, first round picks.